everybody. It is Mr. Reardon. It is Monday, October 27th. We are 4 days away from Halloween, and we are starting our third unit of the semester, starting with our big bioenergetics unit. Our emphasis will be on... That was a long bell. Our emphasis will be on photosynthesis, but I want to make sure that everybody has a chance to review some of that essential material from your junior year, looking specifically at cellular respiration. As always, our screencasts are brought to you by beverage. Today's beverage, Diet Dr. Pepper. Diet Dr. Pepper, so good, it's already gone. Diet Dr. Pepper. Now, I'm not going to lecture on cell respiration at all. And I want to make sure that you know there is no substitute for cracking a book and reading. Your Chapter 9 in Campbell is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful articulation of all the amazing things which happen within your cells while you break down carbohydrate into ATP to use for your cells. But if you're looking for really elegant diagrams, may I suggest your IB book, looking at some basic cell respiration. And then towards the back end, looks like it's page 74, 75. You've got an overview of your cell respiration processes. And again, I know you've seen this before, but it never hurts to see it again. This talk specifically is going to be about some big picture stuff. As I finish this one and then start thinking about another screencast, I'll bring in some more fine-tuned ideas, but I want to get you guys next to this. One of the things I emphasize in class is that bioenergetics is not a standalone unit. It connects to the things that we've discussed in ecology in terms of trophic dynamics and ecological efficiency. It relates to some of the physiology concepts we'll look at before Christmas, specifically with digestion, and it really points to some of the cool things about evolution in terms of our body's abilities to use energy efficiently so that we can put more energy into growth and reproduction. But again, three figures that I think are super important for you to understand are 54.2, here looking at Odom's diagram of ecosystem dynamics, energy flow, material cycling. That is the same thing as this figure, 40.7, that looks at this box as being an individual organism taking in food and then using some of that energy for cell respiration, some of it for biosynthesis, and you'll notice much of that energy is lost as heat. And if we go even smaller away from the organism, we can peer down into an individual cells. And here, if we consider this box an ecosystem, we've got light energy coming into that ecosystem. It's being captured by chloroplasts, and that's photosynthesis. We'll look at that this week in class. And then we consumers have the ability to harness that chemical energy and convert it into things we can use to power our own metabolism. We take glucose and turn it into ATP, and of course the byproduct is heat. So again, that monstrous idea about ecosystem dynamics, energy comes into an ecosystem as light, and energy leaves an ecosystem as heat. That's all the big picture stuff. Let's get a little bit closer and focus in on our organelle du jour. So this is the mighty mitochondrion, beautiful organelle, double membrane bound. It's got all those beautiful folds we call cristae, and it's got two main components, both the matrix and then also the inner membrane, which you should remember from last year. This figure, it's not a bad idea to maybe take a screen cap of this and print it out. What you're looking at here are your three main phases of cell respiration. The teal phase is glycolysis that occurs in the cytosol outside the mitochondrion. And then when oxygen is present, those products from glycolysis are imported into the mitochondrion. That's what we call the Krebs cycle or citric acid cycle. And then the citric acid cycle is linked to the inner membrane of the mitochondria, where we have two main processes going on, both the electron transport chain and then chemiosmotic production of ATP. This, you guys, is figure 9.6 in your text, and you really want to have a good feel for that. Here's an image that you're not going to find in your text, but it's a nice way of organizing these ideas about cell respiration. What I've got here is an image of a basic metabolic reaction. You'll see this in Chapter 8, and you probably have seen this in Ms. Breland's class as well. We're going to start with the molecule A, and then that molecule is going to be broken down by an enzyme into product B, which gets broken down by an enzyme into product C, and then finally into product D. Well, in thinking about this model, you can actually build it up a little bit and look at this as a great example of the linear flow of energy within cell respiration from glucose to ATP. So think about this. As glucose enters the cell, it's going to get broken down into two 3-carbon compounds called pyruvate, and we call that glycolysis. So if A is glucose, B is pyruvate. Pyruvate is further oxidized into something called acetyl-CoA. That enters the Krebs cycle, and then your products C here are NADH and FADH2, a byproduct, of course, being carbon dioxide. The NADH and FADH2 are going to donate electrons to the electron transport chain, and that is what's going to drive the oxidative phosphorylation of adenosine diphosphate into ATP. And that may not make a ton of sense looking at it linearly, but if you go back and review your stuff, I want you to think glucose gets broken down into pyruvate. Pyruvate gets completely oxidized into carbon dioxide. The offshoot of the Krebs cycle are both NADH and FADH2. And then those relatively high energy molecules are used to, they're broken down further on the inner membrane of the mitochondria, and that energy which is released is used to make ATP. And we'll look at that more specifically in the next video.